For the first, I would like to personally thank Professor Said for letting me presenting a subject that made a relationship with our subject that we are studying about European Union. So today we are going to see and look the way Iran watch or think the way that how Iran deal with nuclear weapon and how the relationship with European countries. Before the Iranian Revolution, which took place in 1979, after the Iran Revolution, which took it nearly 20, and have the majority of these countries are now, they call themselves Islamic Republic country. So, in the first slide, you see that the real topic was United Europe relationship and the nuclear deal. JCPOA, as a later I will define and explain what this organization is. So let's go into the introduction, so what I'm going to talk about today. For introduction, European-Iran relationship and political economy more important. Iranian nuclear program created international concern. The JCPOA became a major diplomatic agreement in 2015. The United European played an important mediating role. For the relationship between Iran and Europe, Union important because it goes back to the World War II. After World War II finished, the Iran interfered some policy, some foreign policy, and became one of the important role in the worldwide. So after this important ruling has been accorded to the Iranian revolution in 1979, those policies still remaining but influenced by American that Donald Trump later came and influenced and delayed the agreement which been impacted between United European and Iran. So the relationship between Iran and European Union is important because the effect regional security or global energy markets and international diplomacy that issue become more serious when concerning increasing about Iran's nuclear activities. Western countries fear that Iran may develop nuclear weapons, while Iran instead that the nuclear program was peacefully and intended to civilian energy process. The result was the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action signed in 2050 years later. I will come to it. The agreement is considered one of the European Union's most significant diplomatic achievements in the foreign policy. So as introduction,
you have 15 minutes. Don't forget that.
15 minutes. Historical background of European Union and Iran relationship changed after Iran Revolution, because before Iran Revolution was the Shah Pahlavi was in the presidential chairman. So relationship changed after Iran close relation with Western countries. However, the revolution political tension increased because of the ideological difference and regional conflict. Despite political disagreement, economic relations between United European and Iran continued, especially in the field of energy. But during 2000s, concerning over Iran's nuclear program increased, and the European Union, the international community became worried that uranium, which Iran later founded, could be a threat and to activity that led the development of nuclear weapons. As a result, economic sanctions were imposed to Iran. These sanctions tracked banking and oil exporters and international trade. However, the European Union still preferred diplomatic engagement instead of military confirmation. So after Iran focused that this nuclear weapon will not be threat into the policy of European Union, but European Union wanted to become an agreement and want Iran to use some percent of that uranium, because uranium, once later I will talk about, is some kind of weapon can really damage humankind to nuclear weapon. So Iran nuclear weapon program. And that Iran nuclear peace for nuclear purpose, Iran argued that it is nuclear weapon program was designed for peaceful purpose, such as electricity generation. Because as you know that Iran is one of the countries that are really important with electricity, because we're using uranium, a small uranium for all the city, will be electricity. So after that, as a developing nuclear weapon capabilities, one major concern was uranium enrichment, because enriched uranium can be potentially be used for military purpose, not only for electricity. That is one of the main purpose that European can bring it to that table, that maybe this uranium someday face the country as we see between war nowadays. So the international, however, United States and the International Atomic Energy Agency know that as IAEA considered inceptionist and published report regarding Iran's nuclear activity. This concern led to the increase in international sanctions and diplomatic pressure on Iran. So after he pressured in Iran, so Iran came to an agreement. So later I'll talk about this agreement. But however, the United States and several European countries suspect that Iran may secretly develop nuclear weapon inside. Maybe not shown in the media or any other place in the book, but in secretly maybe develop this nuclear weapon. So what is JCPOA nuclear deal? In 2015, the JCPOA, which stands for Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, known as Iran nuclear weapon. Iran has 5 countries in the world who has nuclear weapon, like China, like Russia, like America, Britain and France, plus Germany, came to be an agreement in 2015. Wanted that an agreement which signed in Vienna in 2015. Parties are Iran, European, as I mentioned, American, all of them. They came to an agreement that there should be an increasing a limit for the uranium that Iran used for the nuclear weapon. But later what happened? That's uranium, a piece of uranium that happened. This uranium is very one of the most equipment that will be found by theorists of the Albert Einstein, and later will increasing by Oppenheimer. So uranium using for nuclear weapon. So in exchange, international sanctions on Iran were reduced. The agreement aimed to prevent nuclear proliferation while avoiding military conflict. Many scholars consider that JCPOA an important success of military diplomacy, but later Trump came and refused the agreement. US withdrew and Iran crisis in 2018. The President Donald Trump led the agreement in 2018, and section in 2018 United States under the President Donald Trump officially withdraws the nuclear agreement against Iran. So what happened after withdrawing? The United States imposed severe economic sanctions into Iran. Those sanctions had a major economic effect on Iran economy. Before that section, Iran country where their currency named Tuman were very low. But now it's too high. Their damage of the economy will influencing even today. So in response, Iran gradually reduced the compliance of the agreement by increasing uranium enrichment activities. The European Union considered that USA withdraw the attempt to preserve the territory of the diplomatic entities. However, maintaining the agreement became increasingly difficult. So challenging activism. After this happened, a lot of people, a lot of political or politicians from Iran or from outside of Iran came to an agreement. So came to criticize this section. Why the deal which took place in 2015 later taken by Donald Trump would be cancelled. So the GPO faced many challenges from the beginning. One major problem was the lack of the trust between Iran and Western countries. Because I also mentioned before Iranian Revolution in Shah Pahlavi from Iran, the relationship between Iran and Western countries was very important. But after Iranian Revolution, which took place in 1979, the way of challenging and after uranium will be found, the relationship and our subject will be parallel. So the agreement received criticism from different sides. Some critics believe that the deal was too weak. the only delay Iran's nuclear ambitions argue that diplomacy was the most realistic and the peaceful option available. This debate is still continuing as we see today. So, by the end of seminar, the recent years, relationship that full restore the agreement have faced many difficulties. Political tension between Iran and Western countries remain high. The European Union continue to support diplomatic solution because they believe that the negotiations are more difficult than military action. So, as we see that the war between Iran and Israel some kind of month ago, the future of European Union and Iran relationship will depend on trust, compromise, and international cooperation. Preventing nuclear escalation and remain very important for the Middle East and the global security. So in the conclusion, to conclude that the GPOSA represents one of the most important diplomacy achievements in the recent international relation, where we are focusing about the relationship between Iran and European Union. So with the withdrawal of the United States, weakened the agreement and increased the tension. Despite this challenging diplomacy remains essential of the achievement of the regional stability and prevent nuclear conflict. This case related show both the possibility and limitation of international diplomacy, complex and global environmental. Still today, we have unclear tension, unclear path that we must see what happened next after those Donald Trump. Maybe some others I have read in the source. Some others believe that after the Donald Trump died, maybe or Donald Trump left the presidential time, maybe some issue come along that may get fight between Iran and European Union. So this scenario still today is available. Actually, we have to wait and see the situation. So that's the end of my seminar. Thank you so much for attention and listening.
Any questions that you might have? The US withdrawal, the turning point.
To European country, maybe the influence were more influential than country beyond the regional diplomacy section.
Thank you.
You're welcome.